Welcome to episode 666, our Halloween special, where we're going to talk all things cryptid. Please, to all our return viewers, thanks for coming back to Ramirez Unraveled. Valiant Thor, our last guest, said to please make sure I always ask you guys to share the show, like the show, and please subscribe to our channel. So I want to introduce my very, very special guest, Mr. Isaac Antonetti. Everybody, Isaac. Isaac, how old are you?
I'm 13.
13. Let's talk about where you go to school at.
I go to school down in Martinsburg at St. Joseph's School.
This is your last year over at St. Joe's?
It is.
Let's talk about these Halloween events that you have coming up. I know your dad, and thank you for filling in today. Unfortunately, we had a last-minute cancellation, so we have a very fun show, all ages, so I thought it would be great to do this with Isaac. And Isaac is part of some charitable events for his school, so please fill us in on what's going on and how people can help support the school.
So we're doing this haunted house where all of the 8th graders, or this year's 8th graders, we come together and we do a haunted house for the trunk or treat event, which basically raises money. Just the trunk or treat raises money for the school, while the haunted house is raised by 8th graders and is raised for the 8th graders. And really, we need volunteers just to help people out because we don't really have very many right now. Mm-hmm. And the most... I think we only have 3 at this moment. We definitely need more, though, for sure.
When's the event taking place?
Friday of next week at 5 o'clock.
So Friday, do you guys know the date, Nick, on that? 25th. And how could people get involved? Isaac was saying something about volunteers. What's the best way that we could direct some people to come and help out the school?
I know we have some sign-up geniuses going up just so people can sign their name up and say, I'm going to do this for the school. And really, if you're a part of the school, you can help out in any way. I know there's a few 8th grade parents who aren't really helping, so we definitely could use some more 8th grade parents to help.
And what's the name of the school?
St. Joseph's School.
St. Joseph's School, Haunted House, and Trunk or Treat. We'll come back to that. Let's take a look at our first graphic, Nick. Cryptid Halloween 2024, right? This is going on. I'm going to read from their event page, and this shout out goes to my friend Sam Walsh of Euphoria Photography. Interesting young woman. She is a local promoter of shows and a local photographer. She does a lot of documentation at our local rock concerts. So she is volunteering at Cryptid Halloween 2024. So I'm going to read from their event page. Snarly Yow is at it again and bringing Cryptid Halloween back again. Mark your calendars for October 26, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Ranson Civic Center in Ranson, West Virginia. We will have over 20,000 square feet of cryptid, spooky, odd, and eerie, and just downright amazing art and gifts from some of the best vendors you will ever meet, as well as a haunted house, trick-or-treat speakers, a podcast team, emceeing and doing what they do best. Also, including a super special thing Snarly Yow has been working on will need to be shared by their own post and introduction. This event is kid-friendly, all age. Cryptid Halloween is free admission and very kid-friendly. There will be a trick-or-treating and costumes are welcome and encouraged. Plenty of free parking available. So please go support your local community. This sounds like a wonderful event right along with our theme of Cryptids of West Virginia. So Cryptid Halloween 2024, Ranson Civic Center. I think that's this coming Saturday. So let's go to our second clip. Or second image, I'm sorry. All right, I want to invite everybody out on Halloween night, October the 31st. I'm pretty sure Jared Scher did these graphics. I don't know that for a fact, but that sure in the fuck looks like Jared. Heroes Unsung, Meatbot, FYI, and Mad D Calhoun will be playing at Bad Habits. I think this is going to be a great show. I'm a big fan of Heroes Unsung. Shout out to my friend Garrett Garnes. Just a really neat guy. I really enjoy his company. Okay, so Isaac, let's get into this whole cryptid thing. What's our next thing that we have in the computer?
You got a third clip. Stand by.
Oh, I forgot our literary dedication. How could I ever do that? Oh, I'm so sorry. I used to like to read. I don't read as much as I should. And I encourage everyone to read. I'm happy you were telling me you read. Books are fun. I hope books are still a thing. One of my favorite scary books was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I didn't read a lot of Anne Rice, but what I did, I really enjoyed. I know her work has turned into a lot more. I know she's big. They have whole television shows, movies, all based on her book. But I read Interview with the Vampire. I thought it was a brilliant book. I thought she was a wonderful writer. And I read several of her from the Witching Hour series. I think I read 3 of those, and I thought they were all really enjoyable. I didn't read a lot of female writers, but she was one of those that really captured my attention. Who are some of your favorite writers? Who are you reading right now? What's a 13-year-old reading?
Do you want to know what's in school or what I'm reading?
What you're reading, what you enjoy.
I enjoy Harry Potter when I was really big into that. I read Lord of the Flies when I was in 7th grade for a book report, which did not go so hot, I can tell you that. I don't really read very much, unfortunately, but I just don't really see him enjoying and reading. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Look, you should see The Lord of the Flies, the first movie that they made. I think it's in the early 50s. Oh man, all shot in black and white. It's a brilliant film, and it's a really good adaptation of the book. So I would highly recommend that. What's the next thing that we have?
You have your first clip, Bigfoot.
All right, this is awesome. Okay, so we're gonna start with Bigfoot. Tell me your knowledge and experience. And when I say Bigfoot, what comes to mind, Isaac? What are you thinking?
Well, if I look at it literally, it's a Bigfoot, or it's a creature who has apparently a huge foot and has a gorilla-like appearance. And I remember seeing a clip in 5th grade of a Bigfoot walking through a forest, which I think is the one that you're about to show.
Yes, I believe it is. It is. Let's go ahead and play that all the way through. Is this it?
Yep.
Oh, God.
These may look like a parcel.
Hang on.
Big teeth, not Bigfoot.
I think I was about your age when I was probably a little bit younger when I first saw this. It sparked a lifelong fascination with Bigfoot, the whole cryptid myth. This is called the Patterson film, and I believe it's shot sometime in the late 1960s. And if I remember the story correctly, it's shot with a Super 8 camera, which is one of the things I'm still into Super 8 cameras. I love it. But they're small, easy, handheld cameras. The footage has, has become part of public consciousness. I do believe it's been long debunked. I think the person who actually wore the costume
Yeah.
on his deathbed in 2005 was like, it was all fake. And with strange stories like this, there's always some sadness in it, because my understanding was that there was a lot of legal fighting between the two people involved in the prank over, what would amount to little money.
Yeah.
So tell me, have you seen that, and what's your thoughts on it?
I have seen that clip. My friend Sam, he did a whole project on it, but what I know from it is it was debunked. He did eventually come forward, and it doesn't really make any understanding to me, because I'm pretty sure he said it was trying to attract like bears or something along those lines. But for little money to have very legal like lawsuits and whatnot doesn't really make any sense to me. But to each their own.
I always felt that they probably didn't expect it to get as big as it did, because that's long before the day of computers and going viral, whatever. But I think that the footage just kind of sparks this imagination that continues. Like, I forgot to mention the outfit for anyone, looking at the crazy outfit. This is the type of stuff that you need to wear when you go out looking for cryptids like Bigfoot. And here, I was going to say, Isaac, did you know that anyone that follows me at the end, I want to show this slideshow my friend Jared Scher contributed on, of my cryptid encounters out hiking. But hiking or hiker, they're Sumerian. They come from Samaria, and they mean cryptid hunter or cryptid hunting. Have you ever heard that before?
I've not heard that.
Yeah, because it's not true at all. I just made that up.
Okay.
So, what's our next clip on the show?
John Wayne, is
this the? Oh, let's bring up. We have stills, right?
Yep.
Let's look at the first still we have, which I believe is the snarly yow. No, wait, snarly gaster. I think that's the next one.
This is just your.
Okay, yeah, we start with that. That was the reference point that I used putting this together. So the ones that me and Isaac are going to explore are the snarly yow, the legendary Mothman, and the Flatwood monsters. When I was doing research on this, I was shocked to find out just how big the whole cryptid thing is. So it made sense that they're doing this event in Ranson. Yeah. A lot of communities in West Virginia use it for tourism. And a lot of the stories just come from folklore, local folklore, West Virginia folklore. So I thought it was kind of cool that those things stay around for literally hundreds of years. So it gives you a connection to the past.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next one, this is the snallygaster, right? I first heard about the snallygaster when I moved over to Frederick, Maryland. It was supposedly this winged monster that haunted South Mountain over around Route 40. I've been told that the snallygaster made its first appearance on Scrabble Road outside of Shepherdstown. But as I dug a little bit deeper, I learned that the snallygaster is from German, right? The German immigrants that would come over, and they would settle in Maryland, what would become Frederick, Maryland, and they would basically adapt some of the folklore that they were bringing, and the snallygaster was part of that folklore. And I found out that the 5-pointed stars on barns, like you'll see 5-pointed stars on barns, usually red, that they were a German tradition to ward off evil spirits like the snallygaster. And when I was getting ready for this too, I also found out that Teddy Roosevelt, President Teddy Roosevelt, actually proposed a hunting trip to South Mountain to go shoot and kill a snallygaster. You ever heard of snallygaster before? It's your first time.
This is my first time ever hearing about one.
Snallygaster. So that's your first local cryptid. At first, I thought, could I do a whole episode on local, cryptids or whatever? But I could only find 2. So that's the first one. Let's pull up the next graphic. I think that might be the snarly yow.
A lot of snarlies.
Oh, West Virginia, home of the snarly yow. Have you ever heard of the snarly yow?
No, I haven't.
Let's go ahead and move up to the second graphic because it's pretty cool. Okay. So the snarly yow is kind of like a werewolf, but not 100%. They're described as almost like ghosts. And I thought the graphic was really cool. I had never heard of them myself, and I was out hiking on the Appalachian Trail up near South Mountain, where Appalachian Trail crosses Route 40, and there were some signs, and on it gave the whole story of the snarly yow. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, that's really cool. So when I'm out hiking, I'm usually looking for bears, but now I'm looking for the snarly yow, but I haven't seen one. So what's our next one?
The Mothman clip.
Oh, let's do Mothman.
This is going to be a little bit different. So,
have you ever heard of the Mothman? A dark, winged figure with glowing red eyes that's haunted a small town in West Virginia. It all started in 1966, when locals began reporting sightings of a huge creature flying through the night. But what really spooked everyone was what came next. In 1967, just 1 year later, the Silver Bridge suddenly collapsed, killing 46 people. Some say the Mothman was there, a warning of the disaster to come. Today, Point Pleasant celebrates the legend with a Mothman festival, but sightings haven't stopped. People still claim to see it, before something terrible happens. So, what do you think? Is Mothman a warning, a protector, or just a legend? Let us know in the comments. Have you ever heard of the...
So, Isaac, have you heard of the Mothman?
I have.
Do tell us what you thought, your thoughts.
I haven't heard of the whole he's a warning or a protector. I definitely did hear about the bridge collapsing and he was there. I heard that people spot him in tunnels, seeing his glowing red eyes before anything. We learned about him in history class. We actually have a section just about him that we're learning at right now. We had a few art assignments about it, but I don't know much, but I know that he has like a 15-foot wingspan, which is huge. Mm-hmm. But that's all I know, pretty much.
No, I think there's a little bit of similarity, between the Mothman and the whole idea of the snallygaster, like the flying. I remember the movie, right? The Mothman Prophecies. I mean, that was ancient. It came out so long ago. And I remember thinking the movie had nothing to do with like monsters or whatever. But again, I mean, it was a long time ago when I saw it. I remember it starred Richard Gere. I've always liked Richard Gere. But I think it's really neat to see that Point Pleasant has become a real tourist destination. And, in one of the earlier episodes, I talked about going to Roswell, New Mexico, and they have the UFO museum there. So there's a lot of people or a lot of places that have these quirky little stories, and they celebrate them, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty cool. And that's going to bring us up to our next clip. I was not familiar with the next one, right? This is the Flatwood Monster of West Virginia, and this came as a suggestion from Facebook from a friend of mine, this famous science fiction writer and editor named Scott Edelman, who lives just over here near Sleepy Creek. He lives out near Sleepy Creek. He invited me out to this really neat party, and there was a whole group of them playing. What are they called? The little guitars.
Ukulele?
Yeah. And there was like 15 or 20 of them and playing together. And I mean, in harmony. And yeah. I mean, it was, just going to town. I had never seen anything like it. But he has a podcast, so I'll give a shout out to Scott's podcast. Science fiction. If you love science fiction, please check out Eating the Fantastic. That's the name of Scott's podcast. Fascinating fella. He actually worked for Marvel. I think it might be Stan Lee. Who's Stan Lee?
He's Spider-Man and whatnot. I'm pretty
Is
sure
that Marvel?
he drew everything. So.
I think
Either Marvel or DC Comics.
Yeah, I think it's a
I think
mixture
he's
of both.
connected to Stan Lee in some way, whatever comic branch. But I met him in downtown Martinsburg, and he's always traveling. He's always at he's different literary, and he's still a published writer. He still submits stories, and I think he was an editor of a famous science fiction magazine. But again, Eating the Fantastic with Scott Edelman. All right, let's take a look at the Flatwood Monsters clip.
The Flatwoods Monster, a legendary extraterrestrial enigma, emerged on September 12, 1952, in Flatwoods, West Virginia. Witnesses described an eerie encounter. A luminous object plummeted from the sky, leading them to a towering humanoid figure with a glowing spade-shaped head and an unsettling metallic frame. Accompanied by odd sounds and physical discomfort, the event sparked intense speculation. While skeptics suggest misidentifications, the Flatwoods Monster endures as a captivating fixture in UFO lore, inviting discussions about the unexplained and serving as a lasting emblem of the mysterious and unknown. The Flatwoods...
All right. I wasn't real familiar with the story, so I watched a couple of videos on it, and there's quite a bit out there. I guess there's a museum there.
Really?
Yeah, they they definitely get tourists there. Monster Quest had a whole piece on it. History Channel had a whole piece on it. So it's definitely part of UFO lore. And I'm like, how did this one ever miss me, right? Because I love, like, the whole UFO thing is my thing. So I always was hoping West Virginia had a UFO story. So I missed this whole one until now, right? So I'm happy to see that West Virginia has a story like that. And in the research, the one thing I was real fascinated by is it was investigated by what was called Project Blue Book, right? Which is one of the earliest, there's two very early investigations into the UFO phenomena sponsored by the government. I think, I can't remember the name of the first one, but it leads to this Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book is actually a series, I think a 2-season series that they did on the History Channel. It was ultimately a debunking agent of the government to debunk UFOs. It's where the whole idea, if you've ever heard of swamp gas, right? They'd explain all sightings is nothing more than swamp gas, or you just saw Venus over there. But it was investigated by Project Blue Book, which makes it part of UFO lore.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool that there's still this museum there. And the story is like 3 or 4 guys about your age witness this UFO crash through the woods. Them and a bunch of other friends go up, and this odd thing comes out, hovers, makes them sick. And then, like in the Kecksburg incident, the government shows up and covers everything up.
I do have a quick question, though.
Yeah.
What happened with the UFOs and them getting cows is apparently the theory.
The mutilation, right? It was, and I'll do, believe it or not, cows are mammals, so their anatomy, their organs and all those kind of things are very similar to the human organs. Like let's say what we breathe, they breathe. What, they would use them to see environmental things. It's easier to mutilate a cow, to take a cow, than it is to take you, right? Yeah. People start going missing, people get upset. But if your cattle start going missing, then that's the whole, at least that's the story I've been told behind the cattle mutilation, that it was about, they're very similar to us in anatomy, so that they could do tests on them to look at the environment, right?
Okay.
Does that make some sense?
Yeah. That makes more sense.
So let me ask you, Isaac. We're talking about these stories about West Virginia cryptids that have literally been around, like the snarly owl's been around for hundreds of years, the snallygaster, all of the ones on the poster. I think the Flatwood Monsters is really new. What is it that you think that keeps cryptids in public
Knowledge.
consciousness? Why do people...
I almost think that it's This is just me though. It's
Yeah,
just me.
yeah.
I almost think that the whole Area 51 and whatnot. I almost think that the government's almost trying to tease us with these monsters and whatnot. Like people will spot them here, and then the next day they'll spot them over there. Like the Mothman, spot them in Point Pleasant, and then the next day they'll spot them in Berkeley County or something like that. So they're just trying to say, "Hey, we're still here. We haven't gone anywhere, and I think there's gonna be another spotting here in the near future."
What's your thoughts on Bigfoot? Do you believe Bigfoot could be a real thing? Do you believe Sasquatch is out there in the woods?
I believe Bigfoot is just like the megalodon. I think we've explored more of the land than we have the ocean, but I still think there's still parts of the land we haven't explored. There's a tribe that's like cannibals and whatnot. I forgot what they're called, but we haven't explored that land at all because we can't get in there. So maybe he's hiding on there. Maybe he's hiding somewhere in the desert that we haven't discovered yet. But I'm sure he's there somewhere out there.
I saw an interesting clip on Joe Rogan, where they were talking about Bigfoot, almost like this interdimensional being that he could come and go, which would make a little bit more sense because there's never been any real physiological evidence brought forward. But yet the sightings continue. People continue to see things. I love this one YouTube channel, hiking. I think if anyone knows me, knows I enjoy hiking. I get into hiking. Called Base Camp Chris. He tells spooky stories and stuff like that. And a lot of his are about people that encounter things, out hiking that they can't explain, things that, he would almost portray as Bigfoot. Have you ever seen anything? Anything that
Out
you
hiking?
couldn't explain? Hiking, cryptid, monsters,
I feel like
UFOs, aliens, anything.
I feel like if you go looking for something, you're gonna find it. But if you're just out hiking and whatnot, you're not gonna find very much stuff. And even if you do find something, your brain's always gonna be like, "Oh, there's a reason for this." So it's probably not an alien encounter. But me personally, I've never seen anything out of the ordinary. I am also 13, so I still got a while ahead of me. So, what have you seen anything?
Nothing that would lead me to believe I saw a cryptid. But earlier, you and I were talking about ghosts, right? So, yeah, ghosts. It's Halloween. Let's talk about ghosts. I have had some experiences that I would consider ghostly or otherworldly. When people die, you have dreams of when people die. I had dreams when people died, like they visited me. That felt very real, like a ghost. I remember one time I lived with a small group of people, and we lived in a group house in Frederick, Maryland. I worked at the psychiatric unit at Frederick Memorial Hospital, and I'd gotten snowed in at the hospital, so I had worked like an ungodly amount of hours. I finally got someone with a 4-wheel truck, a volunteer from the hospital, that got me home. And I remember going into the house. I was exhausted. I'd been up all night. And I looked at the top of the stairs, and I saw this woman in a white dress, right, with long hair. And I thought it was this roommate of mine named Virginia. And I said, "Virginia?" And I saw this figure go into Virginia's room. It was like this ancient farmhouse. I mean, this beautiful old farmhouse. So I went up and I went into Virginia's room, and there was no one there. She had stayed at her boyfriend's. So I just went to sleep, and I kept thinking my mind was playing tricks on me because I was tired. But, that's one time. But yeah, there's been other times. What about you? I mean, and just the feeling of, otherworldly.
I mean, I am a religious person, and I think the Bible says that I don't think we're supposed to believe in ghosts, But, a few encounters here and there makes one tilt their ways and whatnot on ghosts and whatnot. I mean, occasionally, I think I've had a few experiences, but not very many that are relevant or big. Like, I don't know.
When you and your friends get together, do you guys ever tell scary stories? Do you have scary stories?
No.
No.
My brother, the one time he brought home, I don't know, Ouija board.
Oh, no. Do tell. Do tell.
We weren't allowed to use it because Mom shut that down real fast. Although, when I have my friends over sometimes, they're like, come on, just once. It's not that bad. I'm like, I still live here. You get to go home after this. I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're inviting spirits into my house.
Right.
So I'm the host after this. No, let's stick to watching Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Probably when I'm in high school, I'll bring it over to some friend's house.
I always thought that hocus pocus stuff was meaningless, but that was always my personal take on it, and I could never get it to. It never was like in the movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What? You're illiterate. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I mean, it would make no sense to me. So I've never been. All right, let's talk about scary movies since it's Halloween. What are some of your favorite scary movies? If you were gonna say, I recommend for Halloween, you should watch this.
If you're looking for not so much of a gore and instead of a scary movie, I would go with the original It's, like Stephen King It's and whatnot. I would go with the Halloween movies, like Michael Myers and whatnot.
Let's talk about them. Are we talking about the newer ones, the ones by Rob Zombie? Have you seen the Halloween by Rob Zombie?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. I just recently saw that, and I'm glad you brought up the Halloween franchise because I'm old. I remember seeing the original Halloween when I was probably about your age, right? So I've always paid attention to the franchise. I've never been huge on it because of the whole slasher thing, but I didn't mind checking in every now and then to see what Michael Myers was up to. So I saw the newest one, and I don't even know when it came out, but I thought it was a really fascinating film because they go into him as a kid.
Yeah.
They open with him as a kid.
The stuff that's like with kids, that's the creepiest type of stuff.
Yes.
Cause
absolutely terrifying.
have you seen the new Pope's Exorcist?
No, do elaborate.
My family and I, we saw the new Pope Exorcist with Father Amorth, which I did a book report about him. And the kid is possessed in that movie, and he is just blasphemizing. He's just going off. And at the end of the movie, he turns into Mary, and just it's a really creepy movie. It's super gory, but it's also really scary. Definitely had to keep one eye open that night, I can tell you that. Maybe had to watch a few YouTube videos afterwards as well. But, I mean, if you're looking for one, have you seen the new Terrifier 3 movie? Or any of the Terrifier? Like Art the Clown? Those are super gory. Like, to the point that they're not super scary. They're just like, I can't look because of how gory it is. I haven't seen it, but from people, that's what they've said so far.
Let me ask, who are some of your favorite YouTube channels? You mentioned YouTube, so what are some of the ones you enjoy watching?
I like to watch these guys that go like ghost adventuring.
Oh, cool.
Sam and Colby, they go to like haunted asylums and whatnot. I kind of watch a wide variety of them, but mainly them because typically at night when I'm just like laying down doing nothing, I'm like, oh, let's see what I can put on for them. Boom.
How long are their episodes usually?
Probably 40 to an hour minute, hour long.
I like short. Usually 20 minutes is my attention span. I like one called Scary Interesting. They tell adventure stories. A guy's a wonderful storyteller. He puts a lot of production value into the show. Just a lot of fun. I like his.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap this up. Again, this is our Halloween special. Thank you, Isaac Antonetti, for being part of the show. Oh, hell, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot all about the slideshow. All right, this is with my cryptid encounters while hiking locally. Jared Scher, my friend, we'll talk about it at the end. I'll shut up. Let's play this through. That's Bigfoot. Original Planet of the Apes. I love that one. Jared, he started it as pranking me. He would start photoshopping, and so it kept going and kept going, and they're so funny. I love them. So every now and then I get the treat of a Jared Scher photo manipulation, which I think they're quite entertaining. So I'm out there looking for the cryptids and for the UFOs, but I ain't finding nothing, Isaac. I don't think, but I'm still checking out. So we are taking a break from recording next Sunday. I think we're back on the first weekend of November, and we're doing a special show on the Danny Casolaro murder. I know that your mom and dad, I know your dad has, I think Christina has. It's called American Conspiracy, the Octopus Murders. Have you guys both? Yeah. So we're doing a really special program on that. We have a friend who was actually at the Sheridan when Danny body. Well, both of them were there when Danny Casolaro's body's found. One of them is actually featured in the 4-part documentary on Netflix right now, American Conspiracy, the Octopus Murders. Get yourself ready. I think it's going to be, or get yourselves ready. I think it's going to be an incredible episode. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And please remember, share the show. We shoot locally, we produce locally, and thank you, Isaac, for filling in and getting this Halloween special done. That was a blast. I really enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you the next time. Bye, everybody.